talking about when Abraham came.
Okay, but Ishmael was a little kid when Abraham, supposedly, built the Kaaba, right? And Ishmael grew up with his mother in Mecca, right? So obviously, what, did he grow up by himself? Or was it just him and his mother?
Yes, when they came, it was a barren valley. There was no one there.
So how did Ishmael get married to a woman from the area that he grew up in? Obviously, he wasn't the only person there, right? I'm pretty sure he didn't marry his mom.
In Mecca, he was, but
how did he marry somebody?
In Mecca, he was. Wait, by the way, when I say there was no one there, I don't mean the Arabian Peninsula. I mean...
No, I'm talking about Mecca. I'm talking about that area.
There was no one in Mecca, yes.
That's where Abraham... So you want me to believe that Abraham and Ishmael built a Kaaba out in the middle of nowhere where nobody lives, right?
Yes.
And then he left, and then Hagar and Ishmael grew up in the area. He got married to somebody, some woman in there. As a matter of fact, he got married twice because he divorced his first wife. So obviously there had to be people there, right?
Okay, wait, I got a question. Before I give you an answer, what does chapter 34, verse 44 have anything to do with this?
I'm sorry, chapter what?
34.
Okay, it says, and we did not give them any scripture, So it's talking to Muhammad, so it's talking to him and the people in the Arabs where he lives, right?
No. It is Sheba.
It is who?
Sheba.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Sheba.
It's Sheba, huh? Where are you getting that it's Sheba? I mean, I know it says Surah Saba, okay. I mean,
Sheba.
Okay.
I was confused because I didn't understand what that verse had to do with your argument, but whatever. By the way, am I lagging or something?
I don't think so.
In Islamic tradition, in all schools of thought, it is agreed upon by everyone, even layman knows this. When Abraham came, it was barren valley, as in, when Muslims go to when they do the pilgrimage, there is a part where they run and they teach you this is where
you're talking about the two little hills, the two little boulders.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I was there yesterday. I did the program yesterday.
So why do you guys call them mountains when they're not mountains? I don't even think they're hills, man. They're just two big rocks.
She ran back and forth.
Right.
Probably.
Rocks.
Yeah. I don't know about etymology or not. Whatever. Point being is, it is pretty clear that there was no one there. That's what they teach. So I don't know. I don't see the contradiction.
Okay. I'm not. Why is it that you guys are trained to say contradictions? Did I ever mention a contradiction?
Yeah, but that is your whole argument.
No, it's not my whole argument. Please do not think that my argument.
Okay,
I don't even deal with contradictions in the Quran.
Can I tell you why I came to that conclusion?
I go at the Quran. I deal with the mistakes in the Quran.
Yeah, I understand. Can I tell you why I came to that conclusion?
Well, because a lot of I guess a lot of other people bring up the contradictions.
No. It is because of your premises. You said Abraham. You gave a verse of Muhammad, of the God saying to prophet that there was no prophet sent to these people, and then you gave another verse where Abraham was. I don't know. I just came to the conclusion. Is he referring to a contradiction? And then
No. I'm just confused. If
they were not sent as prophets to.
If Abraham and Ishmael were prophets, and they were supposedly in Mecca, and this is talking about, people from that area, like 32:3, right? It's talking to Muhammad saying, you've been sent to those people, right? Whose people was Muhammad sent? The Arabs in Mecca, Medina, right? But then it's saying that
Arabs, yeah.
But then it says that they've never had a warner. But then my question is, right, and 36:6 it says that you may warn a people whose forefathers. So it's telling me that these people, they've never, if we go back generations, basically it's kind of saying there's never been any prophets in Arabia before Muhammad.
No. No one said
Which
that.
prophets?
I did say before, I don't mean the entire Arabian Peninsula.
Okay, so let's just limit it to, let's say, Mecca and Medina, because that's where Muhammad was at.
Not Medina. Medina has nothing to do with this.
I'm sorry?
Not Medina. Medina has nothing to do with this.
Okay, all right, Mecca then.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the reason I said Medina was because Muhammad supposedly, according to your stories,
Yeah, I understand, sir.
lived in Medina 10 years. Okay, so let's just focus on Mecca. Okay. So
by the way, before you begin, I'm gonna go like in 2 minutes. So.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Streamline it.
I'm sorry?
Streamline it, as in, just simplify it for me.
Okay, I'm trying to find out if Muhammad is truly the first one, the first prophet to the Arabs of Mecca, when Ishmael is said to have grown up and lived in Mecca.
Okay, Muhammad is the first
remember, Mecca is the mother of all. Mecca is the mother of all. It's in your Quran, right? It says Mecca is the mother of all cities, or the mother of villages, right?
I don't know. Muhammad was the first prophet sent to Mecca.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When Abraham came, there was no one there. It was a barren valley. No one. Okay. God instructed him to leave Hagar and his children there for a while, and
hold on a second. God to leave Hagar and his children. What children? How many kids did Hagar have?
I'm not if he's the wrong wife. Point being, it was Ismail and Ismail and his.
So now you're saying that Isaac was also in there?
Okay, you're just going off technicalities now.
No, you said children, so I'm just curious. How many?
He was told to leave. Okay, as far as I remember, there was a child and there was the wife, and he was told to leave. Okay,
right.
And then
now, where's your evidence that Abraham and Ishmael were ever?
My bad, go on.
Yeah, no, I'm saying outside of the Islamic story, where's the evidence that Abraham and Ishmael were ever in Mecca?
Without Islam.
Yeah.
You said, okay. Without Christianity or.
Okay, what does Christianity have to do with it? Do you need to go? Because I could go to the previous Jewish scriptures, right? And I can find out everything about Abraham. That is not. I'm not able to find out from the Quran.
What I was trying to say was, without the Torah, what about the Old Testament or New Testament? Prove to me Moses existed. Same analogy.
So why would you use a stupid argument like that? Because then that would also apply to you, right? If I can't prove that Moses existed, so you and I got problems, don't we?
No, I don't claim that. You affirm.
No, but wait a minute. But Moses is taken from the Torah. So if Moses doesn't exist in Christianity or Judaism, as sure as hell ain't gonna exist in Islam, right?
Yeah, no, he is, because there is a difference. There is a difference. Your books are.
When did Moses live? Tell me, from your Quran, what period of time? Because the scholars know when he lived. So your Quran doesn't teach anything. So how do I know that your Moses actually existed versus the one in the Bible that we know pretty much the area that he lived in, the time period that he lived in?
Yes, sure. Let me respond. Your
archaeology. right?
No, yes. Even if I was to grant you that, the reason that argument doesn't work on us is because we believe it is the word of God. So,
Well, but you believe it's the word of God, but I can show you that the Quran is not the word of God because it has a lot of mistakes. Now, granted, we can't go by you believe. You know what? I believe the moon is made out of Swiss cheese, but that's my belief.
Sure. Can we go back to the original argument?
I deal in what can you prove? So you claim that the Quran is the words of Allah. Can you prove that?
Wait. The reason that I came up is because you had an internal critique of Islam, and now that I've given you evidence, do you have
an internal and external because, like I said,
you didn't give me an answer to my refutation.
No, what refute, man? You're just making a claim that when Abraham was there, Mecca, nobody lived in Mecca. So Ishmael,
even a 6-year-old knows this. When I told you this,
so Ishmael and his mother lived in Mecca all by themselves, but yet the Quran says Mecca. Well, so were there people there?
I'm not affirming it either.
Oh, so you're not answering the question. You don't want to say yes and you don't want to say no.
Okay, fine. I'll give an answer. Okay. When Abraham came, there was nobody there. If anyone came after, that is a different story.
So when did it come after? Because Ishmael supposedly grew up with people according to the hadith, right? And they loved him. He grew up, he was a really good guy. He got married to a couple women in the area. So you're saying that once Abraham dropped off Hagar and Ishmael, then all of a sudden it became a city, but Adam and Eve were in Mecca.
Let's go back. Okay, your first premise was the Quran claims that Muhammad was the first prophet to Mecca. Then I addressed it. Second premise of yours was that Abraham and Ishmael was there. Okay, I addressed that. Third,
you keep saying you address it, but I'm not buying into your narrative that Abraham was there and there was nobody in Mecca.
Wait, you can't say no to that because you're doing an internal critique.
What do you mean I can't say no?
No, wait, you don't get to choose what evidence you accept or not.
No, I do get to choose what evidence I accept. What are you talking about?
Wait, let me finish that.
That's not how evidence works, right? You don't come up here and you tell me what evidence I accept or not. It's what evidence, what actual evidence says, right? You coming up here and telling me a story. I mean, I do like the story, but you can't come up here and dictate what I accept or not. That's not how it works.
I could actually, wait, let me explain. I could actually, when you're doing an internal critique, if you can prove to me that I'm being a hypocrite and that I'm giving you weak evidence, then you could.
Well, you haven't given me any evidence but stories. Where is your evidence? First of all, you have zero evidence that Abraham or Ishmael were ever in Mecca, right?
God says so that's good enough for me.
Where, hold on a second. Where in your Quran does Allah say that Ishmael and Abraham were in Mecca? Because I don't recall. I'm sorry?
He reveals it through his prophet.
Okay, but where does the Quran ever say that Ishmael and Abraham, right? Because remember, they supposedly rebuilt the house of Allah. But where does it say? Because Mecca is only mentioned one time and has really nothing to do with Ishmael or Abraham. So outside of the trust me, bro, what evidence could you provide that would substantiate that Abraham and Ishmael actually were in Mecca, a place that nobody lived in?
Okay, so once again, you're doing an internal critique. The reason that I mentioned before that you claim your book is a historical account is because it is an historical account. You write down the things that happen. We don't need to do that because God. There's a thing.
You keep going with the claim that you believe that God.
I'll make it quick. I'll make it really quick.
How can you prove that Allah said anything in your Quran?
No, that's a different topic. You need to prove that the Quran is not the word of God. It's just
I can prove it, bro. I can prove it by pointing out all the mistakes that are in the Quran.
It would be a different topic now, wouldn't it?
Right, but I'm just saying you're bringing up because your sole evidence is the Quran and you believe it's the words. So you take whatever the Quran says, right? Now, where is your source that says when Abraham, left Hagar
I could easily give you that. It isn't so hard.
Ishmael, where's your source? Where are you getting that from? So I can add it to my list.
Yeah, one that is so easy to find, even 6-year-old.
No. Please don't insult my intelligence. You make a claim.
I'm not.
Shadow, or Somali. You make a claim. It is not my job to go and look for something that you apparently have already done the job. No, it's not. That's not how discussions goes. That's not how debates is. You don't make a claim and then say, you go find it.
Am I wrong? You're doing
I don't know. Where is your evidence?
You're doing it. Okay. So what you want from me now is to give you evidence of what I've claimed. Everything I claim. Is that what you want?
Yeah, you make a claim. I need to see the receipts.
I've got no issue with that. Okay.
Hey, what's up, Brother Axum and Brother AR? How you guys doing? I mean, remember, my lives is like a courtroom. You and I are lawyers, right? I'm gonna make you a lawyer, whether you like it or not. So we need evidence. So if you're making a claim and you're saying that Abraham was in Mecca and supposedly he left Hagar, and you said children, that's why I ask, how many kids did he leave in the middle of the desert? How many kids did he leave in the middle of the desert? Nobody living there. That sounds like a really, really crappy dude, man. That sounds like a really crappy dude.
Wait. I could say the same thing about you. Was Abraham gonna kill his child?
Hold on a second. See, he's got a...
Oh, my bad. Unalive, sorry.
Okay. See, what is it with you Muslims that you always got to run to the Bible? A book that you say you don't believe in. Right?
Oh, why?
Hold on, brother. Doesn't his God basically test people also? He doesn't his God put them in sin or something? He actually.
Supposedly the same thing. Because remember, they say that Abraham was actually going to sacrifice Ishmael, right? So you see, when the Muslim talks, he buries himself. Because I can turn it around and say, yeah, but didn't Allah want Abraham to sacrifice Ishmael? Because you guys claim it's Ishmael and not Isaac. But again, I just wanted to know, I'm supposed to believe that this man left a woman in the desert with her little kids, where nobody lived in, right? Now, what kind of test was that? But then the hadith says that not Abraham. Yeah, I saw that. That Ishmael grew up amongst the people of Mecca. He's telling me no, there was nobody there. So Abraham and Ishmael went to a barren place in the desert, built a Kaaba for, I guess, nobody, maybe for the birds, right? And left his wife, right? Well, honestly, I don't know if Hagar is Abraham's wife in the Quran. Well, actually, Hagar was left because you got to go to the Hadiths or the Tafsirs. But Allah never said that Abraham left his wife in Mecca. Left Hagar and Ishmael in Mecca. It just says that, Ishmael and Abraham raised the foundation of the house. Where? How do I know that that's Mecca? Do I got to do it, trust me, bro? Because I'm not very good at trust me, bro. All right, let me see. Somebody wants to come up. Fix cell now. Okay, man. Man.
Brother, I want to let this guy know. He was like, no, Allah doesn't test nobody. And it took me a quick GPT search to find that Surah Al-Baqarah says we will surely test you. So why is he saying lies? Anyway.
Of course, they're Muslims. They have to lie. They have to lie. They have to make stuff up because, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just curious, right? This is not a main topic. I'm just curious. According to the verses, my understanding, and I know the chapter Surah Saba, I don't think that has anything to do because Muhammad is talking to Muhammad, right? So how does he know it's talking about Sheba?
No, he's one of my brothers, man. I'm embarrassed for him, man. I don't even don't like him. For being one of my Somali brothers. Oh, man.
We did have somebody. Well,
There is someone in the request box right now.
fix it. You got to let us know if you're a Muslim. We don't bring up anybody unless they tell us they're Muslim.
Yeah,
Guys, let's get it up to 50. Well, actually, the sun never sets, and the sun never, it doesn't set and it doesn't rise. So that's just human interpretation of what we see because of the earth. The earth is rotating, right? So as it rotates, part of the earth is away from the sun, right? But in reality,
I'm pretty sure the evidence for Abraham and Ishmael. So I know that there was an Abraham and Ishmael in Mecca. The proof of that was Zamzam water. Yes, Zamzam water is one of the miracles from Ishmael.
okay, again, outside of your Islamic storytelling time, where's the evidence that Abraham and Ishmael were ever in Mecca? Now, the other guy said there was nobody in Mecca, right? And Abraham just left his wife Hagar and Ishmael there, living in the middle of the desert with nobody. Right, so where is your evidence that Ishmael?
Is there any other question you want to ask? Because if we go down this road, if we start saying, hey, what's the evidence that Solomon spoke to animals or Noah's Ark, or
that's not the topic. I just want to know, right? If the Islamic sources say that Ishmael and Abraham were in Mecca, and both of these guys are prophets. And the Quran is saying that there were no prophets, messengers, warners sent to the people of Mecca or the Arabs where Muhammad is from. What did Ishmael do?
So the prophets were Jews, yes, but there was Jews.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Ishmael wasn't a Jew. Abraham wasn't a Jew. So where'd you get this, that the prophets were Jews? Which prophets?
To my knowledge, yes, all of the prophets before Muhammad, they were Bani Israel. They were
right. But Moses wasn't. But Abraham wasn't a Jew. Isaac wasn't a Jew. Ishmael wasn't a Jew, right? You don't get Jews until after Jacob, which, according to the Quran, Jacob didn't have any kids.
But I would want to add one thing, though, here. We do have in the Genesis story that they did call Abram, when his name was still Abram, he was still considered a Hebrew, which is still very cool.
Yes. He was, and I believe Hebrew means one who crossed over, because I think he crossed over to a different land.
So, are you atheist, or do you believe in any of the Abrahamic religions, or?
Well, I only believe in two of the Abrahamic religions, because one is not Abrahamic.
Okay, and which two do you believe in?
I believe in Judaism and Christianity as Abrahamic. I don't believe Islam is Abrahamic.
So you believe that Jesus is the Son of God?
That's not the topic. That's not the topic. Because the seed of Abraham comes from his son Isaac.
So let me ask you this. Why is it if you ask a Jewish person, hey, if there is no temple for you to go pray in, but there's a mosque and there's a church, where would you go pray? They would not go.
Again, I'm not interested in the fact that Jews go pray in mosques. Don't care.
But why would they go pray in mosques?
Well,
because Christianity, it's basically idolized. They idolize Jesus, right?
I mean,
hold
on a second. A Jew does not believe in Allah, and a Jew does not believe in Muhammad.
a Jewish man will tell you that they believe in the same God.
No, they don't. That's any Jew. No, bro, I have Jewish friends. Any Jew that says that Allah and Yahweh.
That's like trust me, bro.
Hold on a second. Any Jew that says that Allah is Yahweh, he's lying to you. No Jew
Allah, Allah
the Jews,
is the Arabic word for God.
Okay, but the Jews' God has a personal name that was given to Moses, and it is so sacred that they can't even pronounce it.
Okay, so the Muslims believe in the God of Moses. I'm trying to tell you.
They don't.
They do. They believe in the same God.
What is the name of the gods of Moses? The name was given to Moses. What is that name?
So, in our belief, God has 99 names.
Okay, is Yahweh one of those names?
Probably Hebrew, English. This is language differences.
No. You're not going to try that because then I'll go to the Hebrew. Then I'll go to the Hebrew and I'll show you Allah and Allah, two Allahs, ALAH and ALLAH. Do we? Okay, hold on a second. Lion.
You lost me. But like I said, the God of Moses, that the Muslims believe in the gods of Moses, the God of Abraham.
No,
all one God. There's always it's a monotheistic.
No, that's what
one religion.
That's what
you're saying. You believe in Judaism and Christianity.
Right. You asked me about
more confused?
You asked me about Abrahamic religions, and I told you I believe that Judaism and Christianity are Abrahamic, right? And Abraham's seed goes through Isaac. What's up? I can't see your name. Are you Jewish?
Oh, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? You Jewish?
Everything's fine. Yeah, I'm Jewish. Yeah,
okay,
I have one question. Why
for me or the Muslim?
For everyone.
Okay.
Why would Abraham go? And they say that the Muslims say that Abraham went to Mecca and built the Kaaba. Why would he teach the Muslims to put idols in front of the Kaaba for thousands of years? This is 2,000 years before Islam. What, he didn't teach them to say?
Actually, 2,700 years if you think about it.
Exactly.
So,
but why would they put idols in front of the Mecca? That's when Muhammad came, and that's what they say. Hey, why do you have idols? I think they had like 300 idols. I think they had like 300 idols. I think they had like 300.
Answer from someone who doesn't truly acknowledge the faith of your faith. But another thing, I wanted to say one more thing also here. The brother Fix, you sound like you're Jewish, and that's hilarious that you're not. And I'm gonna let you guys go ahead now. Thank you.
So I'm not Jewish, but I respect all religions. I respect the Jewish people. My business partner is Jewish. We talk about.
So you Muslim?
Hold on, Fix it. Sorry.
Yes. I'm Muslim.
Stop it, bro. Lion. Does he not sound Jewish? Tell me not.
How do you sound Jewish?
You know what?
I love everybody on this panel. I love your panel. Honestly, I always listen to you guys.
I
appreciate me.
Yeah, he does have a point. You do kind of sound Jewish, Fix.
Go ahead, Fix. Tell us the answer. We're dying to hear it.
So yes, there was idols in Mecca, and there was worse than that. There were the people at that time that you're referring to before Muhammad. They were doing a lot worse things. They were worshiping idols. They were eating. They were burying their girls because of.
Hold on a second. Hold on, Fix. Do you have any archaeological evidence that these people in Mecca were burying their young girls? Because we have actual archaeological evidence that the pagans back in the time of Moses and so forth, we actually found altars and skeletons of little babies that were being sacrificed to these pagan gods. Do we have any of that for Mecca? Because remember, what did you guys do to Mecca? You guys pretty much dug that whole place up to build these nice, beautiful, high-rise, condominiums and apartments and all luxury stores. Did they find it? Did the archaeologists find anything? No.
Well, we don't know. That's not the point. Whether they found skeleton bones or not.
That is exactly the point. We can pinpoint altars, ancient altars, where people were actually sacrificing their young kids to some gods, right? So we know that that's true.
Well, we love the TikTok shop. We love it. We love the TikTok shop.
And another thing, there's no lineage that, the Muslims come from Ismail. If you go into the Bible, they have all of the lineage of Noah, of Abraham, their fathers, their mothers. It lists everything specifically. But in the Quran, it doesn't say,
we don't really, if we look at it from a historical aspect, which I have been doing research to, we really don't have any, enough evidence to say, like if I was in a courtroom and this was a non-criminal hundreds of evidence to prove that there was even a Muhammad. Now, to the Jewish person that's on here, let me ask you a question, and please be honest, because I've got Jewish friends, and I've asked them the same question. Is Allah the same? No, I didn't bring anybody up. So, guys, listen, if you're a mod, do not bring anybody up. Only Rakim can bring him up. I can only bring him up if he tells me to. Do Jews believe that Allah is Yahweh? Now I know you guys can't say God's name, but
okay, I'll tell you. No, God forbid. I'm not trying to disrespect any religion or whatever.
No, that's fine.
But the Muslims have a good story, but the story is not true. He's not a prophet from God. God speaks the tongue of Kadosh. Kadosh in Hebrew means a holy tongue, the holy language. The Arabic language comes way after this holy language that God spoke to the prophets, that God spoke to the kings, But their story is a good story, but I don't believe it's true. Maybe I'm wrong. Who am I to tell you?
Now,
in my opinion, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense.
Now, isn't it also true that there are Jewish sources that say that, Gabriel spoke 70 languages, the languages from the sons of Noah, right? The 70 languages, right? Mm-hmm. And Arabic was not one of them. And supposedly Gabriel taught those 70 languages to Joseph. I think that's
sorry for cutting you off. I don't believe that an angel for 23 years will come and give such an important religion for the future. In the past, in the Bible, God comes in dreams. God talks to, the prophet himself. And explains the prophet, tells him, hey, listen, tell your people to do this and that. But for an angel usually comes for, a short period of time, gives a short message, and leaves.
Right.
Who has God spoken
but not for 23 years comes to somebody. How come God himself didn't talk to Muhammad for 23? Why would he send an angel?
Right.
Because the only prophet God spoke to was Moses. Who else did God speak with?
God spoke to all the prophets. He told them about, hey, listen, the Jewish people are straying, the Jewish people are misbehaving. That's why they got kicked out of the land. They got exiled because God kept on warning them. And in the Bible, it says, listen, my people are stiff-necked people. My people are bad people. Let me destroy my people. But, he doesn't. But he keeps on giving them more chances and more chances and more chances. But he made a covenant. He made a promise to the people. Say, okay, listen, you know what? I bring you back to the land. But,
the problem is that, okay, Moses was very different and special because you could say he had a personal encounter. God actually spoke to him directly, right? The other prophets, he spoke to them through dreams and visions. He did not send, any angels, especially, Gabriel, to give them revelation. Yeah. Sure. The angel would come to them, minister to them, at their times of needs. But as far as revelation, Jabril didn't come down for, X amount of years and give revelation. No, God actually spoke. That's why when you read Isaiah 29:12, where Muslims say, "Oh, it's talking about Muhammad." If you read the couple verses above, what God did to the prophets and the seers and the sages, he made the visions as a sealed book. So prophets and sages and seers no longer got God's words, because he sealed it as a book. Right? So it's not talking about a physical book like, Muslims fixate, he gave it to a man that's unlearned. Yes, but he also gave it to a man that was very educated. And what did he say? Well, I can't read it. Obviously, if I give you a book and it's wrapped up in, paper, right? It's sealed. I don't care if you have a PhD in physics. You can't read the book because it's sealed. So it wasn't. So God did talk to his prophets. He just didn't talk to the prophets like he did to Moses, because the people didn't want to hear. They were so terrified of God's voice that they didn't want to hear God's voice anymore.
In the Bible, it says, Moses talks to God. He says, we fight together. We're best friends. God saw Moses as is literally his best friend. They fought together, they argued together. That's why he said, God, if you love me so much, let me see what you look like. So God says, you cannot see what I look like. Anyone, that comes and sees what I look like gets automatically unalived. So he said, I'm going to put you in the corner of the rock and you can only see my back. That's what he's past him, and you can only see my back. Right. But the Torah doesn't describe what he looks
Hold on
like.
a second, Lion. We got a smart guy here. Red Eye of Jupiter says, Bible says, real Christians talk in tongues and play with venomous snakes and drink. Oh, okay, what you don't understand, God is not saying to go out and purposely drink poison or snakes. What he is saying is that you are protected if somebody tries to poison you, or if you get bit, let's say, by a snake, because I believe Peter, and he got bitten, and he wasn't unalive by it. God does not like to be tempted, because you know what happens when you're tempted? Too bad he's not here. Ask Ahmed Didat. He tempted God, right? And God listened to him. So it's not saying be foolish and drink poison. Because I can tell you, how about I give you 7 Ajwa dates and then you go drink the Kool-Aid.
Hey, bro.
Right?
Hey, bro.
Yes.
I just want to mention one thing. I have to go right now, bro. I'm sorry about that, but thank you for.
All right, no problem, brother.
I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody else, for joining the.
All right, man. God bless you.
Rico wants to say something. He has a question or something like that.
Okay, go ahead, Rico.
I'll take up my time real quick. So God bless everybody. Please follow me, you guys. Everybody, we're going to contact again. I'll see you guys next time, all right?
All righty.
All right.
Hey, thanks for. Hey, I gotta go too. Thanks for the
right,
invite. I will just say, you said you believe in Judaism and Christianity. Christianity has their Bible has been changed over and over again.
That's what you guys say, but you have no evidence to that.
Fix, don't leave yet. I have a question for you, Fix.
Is he still here? Nah, he dropped.
He dropped. What's up, Dr. Cook? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good.
My question was just gonna be for Fix. I like getting into these conversations right here because one thing I like to ask Muslims is that if they believe in Allah or that their word is true or divine, then how come when we look into the Arabian pantheon, we find one of the names of the deities is actually Allah, which existed pre-Islamically. Long before the advent of Islam, there was a deity in their pantheon named Allah. So how does a God from a pantheon give revelation and we so-called have a book called the Quran? It doesn't add up.
Hold on a second. You might get a chance to ask him because he's coming back up.
Fix, I have a question. Fix, I have a question.
There's you can say El Ilah, the God, Allah, which is like just the one word for God. You can say it in plural, which we don't. We're monotheistic. We don't really.
Okay,
believe.
hold on a second. Hold on. Is
But
Allah
if you
a
look-
name or is Allah a title? Because you can't pluralize a name. Right? There's no such thing as plural for name, unless you're talking about a room full of people. Let's say there's 5 people and their name is John. Then you can say, yeah, man, I talked to all the Johns, right? But you're not referring to a single individual.
This is more like God or gods. Like when you say
right, but God is not a name. God. Right, but God is not a name. God. Right, but God is not a name. God. When they try to run to, let's say, Solomon 5:16, and they claim, oh, that's Muhammad. No, it's a noun. There's no such thing in Hebrew as putting I am as a sign of respect. I am in Hebrew makes the word plural. So when you see the word,
only title. So I'm not sure about the previous deity, but or a different religion, but all.
Named Allah, which is where Muslims get also the name. Where Muslims get also the name.
No, what was Doctor's response when I said there was many versions of the Bible and the Bible has been changed? They're trying to change it.
Okay, hold on.
a second.
No, I can speak on that. I can. Doc, you want to take this or you got it?
Go ahead.
But I didn't finish. Let me just finish, okay? The reason why I want to ask this question is because with Christianity, they like to conform. Like right now, with the LGBT community, right? They're now you're slowly seeing.
What happened? No, that's not following scripture. So just because you have some crazy churches doing things that are unbiblical, you can't blanket that across Christianity. Those churches have nothing to do with the teachings of the scriptures.
Correct.
Okay, just because people do stuff doesn't mean anything. Hey, in Islam, and I think it's in the UK, they have skittle imams. I would never use that example to say, well, that's Islam. No. So you can't just look at what some some crazy church is doing and say, well, that's Christianity. And as far as many Bibles, right? Every single Bible has 66 canonized. Yes, the Catholics have a little bit more. The Ethiopians have a little bit more. They have non-canonized books, which I'm not against reading them because I do think they have, some history and so forth on them. And what you're looking at, show me different Hebrew Bibles, right? Because the Old Testament is in Hebrew and the New Testament is in Greek. What you're looking at is translations. You got the King James, which was written in the Old English. I don't speak Tao and D and okay. So we have translations because languages evolve. Words take on different meaning, right? So also, like for instance, the NIV, which I don't like, it is not a translation. It's a paraphrase. It's to make it easier for people to understand it, but it's not let's say a word-for-word translation. You're looking at translations. You have a bigger problem because you have at least 30 Arabic Qurans. These are not translations. These are Arabic Qurans, okay? And 29 of them don't agree with the Hafs version.
That I didn't know. Doc, and I tell you, I used to be a practicing Muslim. I didn't know there were that many Qurans. I knew of one or two you know what I'm saying, because of certain sects within Islam, but I didn't know there were as many as 30 or 40.
No, there's between the 10th century and the 15th century, so in the 10th century, there were 7 imams, right?
Okay.
And I call them teachers, right?
Right.
One of them was Asim, and we know that Asim was the teacher of Hafs. Right, so then a guy in the 12th century, I don't remember his name. So in the 12th century, this particular individual, he selected 2 students from each of these imams, and they call them readers, reciters, rawis. Forgive my pronunciation, my Arabic sucks. Right, so by the 12th century, you literally had 7 plus 14, so you had 21. Then around the 15th century, another guy, he approved or canonized 9, 3 more imams and 6 more readers, giving you the total of 30. But if you read the books from the scholar named Shadi Nazar, I think that he says there was probably anywhere from 40 to 700 different recitations of the Quran, right? We know that Ibn Masud and Ubay Kab, they had different, different recitations or mushafs, because the Quran, nobody reads a Quran. You read a recitation according to, Hafs according to Asim, and then supposedly it supposedly goes back to Muhammad, who didn't exist. So you have at least 30, and they don't say the same thing, because of the diacritical marks, and that's where the problems came in.
Yeah, because one letter or one dot changes the whole meaning of the word.
Yeah. So in the early 7th century, Arabic was still evolving, because the Arabic of the Quran actually comes from the Nabatean Aramaic, right? And then you have the Sabaic Arabic, which was from the southern parts, which I believe, according to my research, was a little bit more developed than the Nabatean Aramaic. So in Islam, so the early Arabic only had 16 consonants. How many do you have now? I think it's 20 now? I think it's 20. And the dots that you might see there, I guarantee you they're red, which means they were an addition. They didn't exist in the original manuscript. And then later on, you had the Dhamma, the Kasra, the Fatha, the vowels, the long vowels, the short vowels, which would help you to pronounce the word. If you change any one of those, then you change the word, which is why when you read the translation, it's a different word.
Yes.
Yeah. So there is no one, where Muslims like to tell you, you can go anywhere in the world and you can pick up a Quran that says the same thing. No, that's not true. Because if you go to Morocco and you pick up the Warsh and you go to Saudi Arabia, or hell, even in the United States, I'd say about 95% of Muslims read the Hafs. Right? Morocco, I know, is the Warsh. Then you got the Duri, you got the Kelun, you got the Nafi, you got the Asim, you got the Ibn Kathir. And no, guys, it's not the Ibn Kathir, that's the Tafsir scholar. This is another Ibn Kathir. You got the Yaqub, I don't remember all 30 of them. But when you look at them, they're not the same. Yeah. So you were a Muslim, right?
I used to be, yes. I practiced for about 4 years.
Oh, okay. So you weren't born a Muslim. You converted and then
correct. I was raised Christian, Doc, and then I went and took a journey trying to understand spirituality, whatever. I always had things that I questioned.
Right.
So I went seeking for answers, and one of the first things where I was finding some answers, besides reading literature about Christianity, was I came across Islam. Islam answers certain questions, but then, when I decided to step back a minute and then do like what some people try to do, go down the rabbit hole, I found some things that I didn't like, and so I left it alone.
Right. I mean, I think if you look at Islam, it's very simplistic, and I think that's what attracts a lot of people to it. Right?
I mean Let me say this, and this is just and this is just being completely honest, or being a person from the outside stepping in and giving it an opportunity. If it's practiced and it's in a sense of what it's supposed to be in its purity, is it a good religion? Can you learn from it? Yes, very much so. There are some things you can learn. I learned a lot, practicing the way of Islam, especially stuff historically, learning stuff from historical aspects, a whole bunch of stuff. And probably one of the biggest things that I had a challenge being Muslim was when I dealt with the with the fasting. But fasting is a whole that's a whole different ball game. But it is in a sense beautiful. Like I wasn't one that delved much into the hadiths or anything like that. I delved into just what was I'm one that, like, when I study something, I like to try to stick pretty much to the book. So what the book says, that's what you go by. You know what I'm saying? So like I was like that, and to me it was beautiful and whatnot. Like, it was a great experience. But like I say, when I decided to step back a second and go down that rabbit hole, I found stuff I didn't like, and that's why I backed away. And I'll be honest, I'm glad that I did, finding out the things that I found out. I could never partake in things like that, or even stand to defend something of that nature.
Right.
One of my biggest things that I hate, and the fact that it's still going on, because according to the scriptures in the Quran, it speaks against slavery, but yet you still have modern countries today in the Middle East that are partaking in slavery. I don't like that.
Well, you do. We can go back and show that, let's say, for instance, Saudi Arabia, they didn't end slavery until like the 1960s. I'm probably saying it wrong. That one was in the 1980s. So even up until the 1980s. But then, when you look at what happened in, like, in, say, Libya, when Libya fell, right, and then you could see there were slave markets in Libya. And you're right, it's still going on in certain parts, right?
Correct.
Yeah. All right, do we have any Muslims? I know we had up to 60 people. Now we're down to only 27. Yeah, so in case you had any questions about my backdrop, it was mainly, okay. All right, I'll try not to say that. It was mainly due to, okay, so I read 4 verses in the Quran, and to me, it's reading like the Quran is saying that there was no messenger or prophet or warner to the Arabs in the area where Muhammad. Now, the Quran's very vague, so we don't know what it's talking about. I'm just assuming, since it was talking to Muhammad, it's talking about the people of Mecca. Now, I don't believe Muhammad existed. Historically, I haven't been able to find enough convincing evidence to point out that there was a guy named Muhammad in the 7th century from Mecca. We don't even have any evidence that there was a Mecca that existed. But then when I look at it, okay, so it's telling me that the forefathers didn't get a warner. But then I'm told by Muslims that Abraham and Ishmael was in Mecca. Sahib Bukhari tells me that Ishmael grew up in Mecca, married a couple women in Mecca. So my question is, Abraham and Ishmael are supposed to be prophets, according to the Quran, right? They're one of the 25 prophets. So if these guys were prophets, if they didn't warn any of the Arabs in Mecca, who did they warn?
None.
Well, yeah.
Well, we can see in scriptures, it does mention people in some sense. There's some scriptures that mention people that were on that side of, like, Babylon and all that. So we knew people there existed. Whether they were there and they warned the people, that's the unknown information.
Right. But my question is, if Ishmael and Abraham are classified as prophets according to the Quran, right? And Allah sends a messenger. See, that's the other thing. It's very confusing because Muslims will say, well, all prophets were messengers, but not all messengers were prophets. I don't buy that.
Well, the Quran even states that. I mean, well, even trying to say that Ishmael was a prophet to them, the Quran even states that the lineage of prophecy was through Isaac and Jacob.
Right.
So even that defeats the fact that they would say that Ishmael is the lineage of the prophet, because the Quran says the lineage of prophecy was through Isaac and Jacob.
Yeah, you're referring to 29:27, where, first of all, it never mentions Abraham. It just says, and we bestowed or gave glad tidings or blessed him with Isaac and Jacob. Now, there's no distinction between Isaac and Jacob, because it seems like the Quran is viewing Jacob as a son given to Abraham, which we know that that's not true. And then it says that prophethood was among his descendants. Now, in the Arabic grammar, his has to go back to the last proper noun, which would be Jacob, which would make sense. Same thing happens in the Bible. You know, it's Isaac, but it's through Jacob where you get the 12 tribes of Israel, and that's where the majority of the prophets come through, except there's a few Gentile prophets like Balaam, right? So, and also something that I found very strange in the Quran, like you can go to 29:27, you can go to 1949, you can go to, I think it's 684, and 21:72, where Allah is always saying, and I gave, or I bestowed, or I blessed on Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird. Where's Ishmael? Didn't Allah also bless Abraham with Ishmael? But Allah never says, and I blessed him. And I started thinking, well, you know, from a biblical standpoint, God never recognized Ishmael as the promised child, because the promised child was supposed to be the son that came through Sarah. Now, yes, Ishmael is the son of Abraham. We're not going to deny that. But he wasn't considered the chosen child. He didn't get a covenant. He got no inheritance. Same thing with all the kids that Abraham had, the 6 kids that he had with Keturah. None of them got any inheritance. And the Quran kind of mimics the same thing when you cannot find a single verse. I mean, and I could be wrong because I have not memorized the Quran, but I don't recall a single verse where Allah says, and I gave, Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, and Jacob. I also found that it was kind of strange that there are some verses where Allah says, my servants, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. What happened to Ishmael? How come you read a few where Ishmael gets thrown in? But, I mean, it makes no sense. Why is Ishmael being left out of the majority of the verses that he should be part of?
What about also, that makes perfect sense, but let me ask you this. Have you seen the verses also where they, in the Quran, where when you look in the Arabic, it precisely describes Jesus as the word and spirit of Allah?
Yeah, he's a messenger. He is the word. He is the word.
Correct.
Right.
John.
Yeah, John. Yeah. No, but Muslims will tell you, no. He's the kun fayakun, be. But as far as I know, Allah didn't create. Isa wasn't done with be fayakun. Allah blew his spirit into Mary's. I'm not going to say the word. JJ. Right, and he supported him with his spirit. Now, Muslims like to say, "Oh, that's Jibreel," but I mean, Jibreel, another very important angel that supposedly came to all the prophets, he's only mentioned 3 times. Twice in chapter 2, and I can't remember what the other chapter was. And all these chapters, if you put the Quran and the order that we're told the revelations were revealed to Muhammad, Jibreel Muhammad and Mecca are at the end of the book, which makes absolutely no sense. If Jibril is such a significant figure, because I'm pretty sure he went to the other prophets, right? We don't read, see, that's just it. It's vague because we know an angel came to Zechariah, but we don't know who. Or one came to Mary, but we don't know who. Because it doesn't mention the name.
What gets me is how they try to put together where even though they're separate, they say that angel Jibril and the Holy Spirit are the same person, which makes no sense.
Right. Notice that in the Quran, Jibril and also I think one time there's Michael. They're always separated from the angels, right? You'll see the angels and Jibril and Michael. I think it's in the verse where what do you call it? Allah's basically telling the wives of Muhammad, hey, if you guys don't behave, right? But they're always classified separately, right? And the strange thing is in chapter 3, we read that Allah sends angels to give Maryam the good news, right? And she's like, whoa, how can I have a son when I haven't been with a man? Then we read in chapter 19, which in reality, chapter 19 is 45 chapters before chapter 3. Allah sends our spirit, and Mary says, I seek refuge with Allah from you if you are God-fearing. That makes absolutely no sense. If this thing is God-fearing, why is she seeking refuge with Allah?
Refuge, right.
Now, it should be, if you're not God-fearing, I seek refuge from Allah. Not, hey, I'm going to seek refuge from Allah if you are God-fearing. I'm like, well, wait a minute. That makes absolutely no sense. But then again, as someone who spent 10 months reading the Quran, not much of it makes sense.
Great point.
Any Muslims? Maybe I need to change the background. Let me see. What do I got? Because
Maybe.
apparently nobody can answer any of my topics. Because my topics are okay. I like this one here. All right. Yeah, you'll probably get a laugh. You'll probably get a laugh at this one.
You know what I would go with that topic, which is one that so there's a brother we've been talking to. We talk to on late nights to have people answer. You seen this